Dun, 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 dun.
Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the Closers Podcast, special Game of Thrones edition of the Closers Podcast. I'm doing the fucking intro! Why?
I was grabbing my burger, bro. I'm not doing anything.
You fuck boy. Again, welcome to the Closers Podcast. I'm Mark Alvarado. Today we have Joey the Assman Norris and Quinn Moondog Kalani, and we're here to review and talk about the series that we all know and once loved, Game of Thrones. Last night was the final episode of the series. There are a lot of different opinions on that episode. We all probably vary in our opinions. I don't think we all necessarily liked it, but there are varying degrees of how much we disliked it. So I will start with Joey. What did you think about last night's episode?
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. The cinematography this season was great. The writing was lackluster. Everything in that episode had just a really effect to it. Like, really? Dany goes out that way? Really? You put the crippled as the king? Really? That's how it ends? You know?
Yeah.
I just didn't understand why it would end that way. And I'm sure Quinn, as a lover of the books and, knows the books and really paid attention during the series, has probably a stronger opinion than that. But, I mean, that's just how it was. It was like, okay, cool, thanks for that. Thanks for a solemn episode of absolutely nothing.
I didn't hate it.
Well, anyway.
That's very surprising.
Why did you not hate it?
I was watching it, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, the end game for each of these characters makes sense.
I mean,
The journey,
How?
the journey was, not exactly what we would have preferred,
Sure.
and it would have made the ending a lot better. It would have made it a lot better.
I'm not,
most
saying I hated it, but I was like, all right, that's kind of what we
But
get.
ultimately, knowing that this is the last episode of Game of Thrones, just thinking about it as a whole, maybe. I've been thinking about it all day. I've been at work all day.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. As a whole, I've been thinking, well, it's one of the top 3 greatest shows of all time.
And I mean, if you take it from start to finish, then yeah, I mean, it's a nice little send off. But if you just look at it this season, you're like, all right, that was kind of booty. We would Mark and I were talking. We were like, well, Dany could have at least had some type of frame where she was actually reigning for a while and then died, instead of touching the throne and then dying. Like, she just grabbed it by the handle and then was like gone.
Well, that would have helped with more episodes.
Yeah.
I think, if we would have just had more time.
If we had more
to
seasons.
see it and not hear it, hear it in dialogue and conversation, but to actually see it, then everything would have been great.
Like, just imagine if the season 8 would have ended at Khaleesi torching King's Landing. Then you open season 9 with her, like, maybe first week ruling, right? There's still tension between everybody because, like, tension between Tyrion, Jon, and Daenerys, because they all know that Jon has the claim to the throne, but he's, of course, sticking by his queen. Eventually, it gets leaked out to, like, the general public, and, like, there's people clamoring for Jon to be the king instead of Daenerys being the queen, and, like, that interplay would have been really interesting for another season. Like, they could have done a lot, but, like, what's the point? What's the point now? Like, nobody, like, no one even knows that Jon was ever a Targaryen.
That's the other thing. They built it up like, Jon's the heir to the throne. Jon's the heir to the throne. Yeah, we're gonna send you to the Night Watch. We're gonna just go ahead and do that to you. Like, I understand he didn't want it.
Well, he didn't stay with the Night's Watch.
That's very true. He went with the...
He left.
He
Yeah, he went with the wild
deuces.
I actually thought this was a rather poetic and beautiful ending for John.
Started at the Night's Watch, finishes at the Night Watch, and goes with the wildlings.
No, but on a more so, for the first time in John's life, he's free of the burden of duty, of oath. He's truly now free to be whoever he desires to be. From the very beginning of the show, we've seen him tied to certain, I see. Certain roles, certain,
certain titles,
certain
people,
certain lanes because of who he was and what he became to be. And he never wanted any of it.
I could see that.
So I actually thought it was quite beautiful. Especially, because he watches the door close and then he looks back and he smiles. I was like, wow, I thought it was actually the perfect note to end on.
Mm-hmm.
I just think if this would have been episode 10 instead of episode 6, it would have been...
Yeah.
I think
it would have been the greatest thing of all time.
The big problem is that it was such a short season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the other ones had at least 10 episodes. This one's crammed into
Not
6.
last season. Last season was 8.
I didn't say all.
Well, season 7 should have been 10 too.
Yeah, a lot of... They should have been 10.
They should have all been 10.
Yeah, they should have all been 10 instead of cramming it into 6. And you're like, all right, I feel like I wasn't given what I mean, obviously we're not going to get what we expect, you know.
No, I thought it was the most... I thought it was very lovely and very well done.
I definitely love the scene with Drogon in the throne room as he sees Khaleesi there, nudges her, notices that she's dead, and then just says, fuck it, gone with the throne, and burns it.
Yeah.
I thought that was another one of those, like...
That part didn't really resonate with me that much.
Oh, really? That's, like, one of the most that resonated with me.
Not really to me, but I didn't really... I was wanting Jon Snow and Grey Worm to fight so badly at this point, dude. Because they had exchanged a few looks, and I was like, oh shit. Arguably two of the most gnarliest dudes in the, still left.
Yeah.
Two of the best warriors. I was like, dude, this fight would be fucking amazing. So, I was kind of hoping instead of Drogon, it would have been Grey Worm who found Daenerys. And they could have gotten down right there. That would have been sick.
That would have been cool.
And then Jon has to fight his way out of the Red Keep.
And then it's just a one-shot.
And then you have the Northmen on the outside.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, there's a lot more dynamics. There were a lot more dynamics that could have been brought in to the last episode. But, of course, we just always come back in the argument back to the fact that there was only 6 episodes, and that was a huge setback.
Huge.
It
was big.
Huge setback for the show.
Is the big woman.
To be honest. Now that it's over, let's go over like some of our favorite characters and discuss the endings that they received. What do you think about... Who's your favorite character?
Marjorie shouldn't have gone the way she went.
Okay,
that was some bullshit.
Okay, well, fuck Marjorie.
That was
a long time ago.
That was like 4 seasons ago.
Yeah, and I'm still upset about it.
Still?
She knew that shit was gonna go down in the Citadel, and she was like, y'all, we need to get out. We need to get out. And they're like, no, we're just gonna stay here. And then kaboom!
Marjorie?
She gone.
Yeah, well.
She was my favorite. And then
really?
I think after that, I was liking it changed from Marjorie being my favorite. She died, and then Cersei became my favorite.
What?
Because she was, for a little bit, not for the whole thing, but just because she was just like there watching it burn, going,
I love Cersei.
That's right.
I love Cersei.
And then...
Cersei's a straight thug.
She is. And then it kind of went in circles with Dany and Cersei, and then I stuck with Dany for the rest of the season, and I was like, Dany's got to be it, because I just love the character.
And then she burns up an entire city,
and
killing
then
a bunch of innocent
I
people.
still loved her for that. I was like, you go, girl. Don't show no sadness.
You're a fucking
Don't
psychopath.
surrender. Goodbye.
Fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, God damn it. Yeah, I was like, yeah, sure they surrender, but it's like, no, like, she wanted people to fear her. So she was like, y'all gonna fear me today.
Yeah, and then, that worked out so great.
is the real psychopath Bran, who perhaps knew all along that Daenerys was gonna go mad.
Why do you think he said the words, "Why do you think I came all this way?" Like, bro.
That part made me laugh so hard.
His character makes no sense. Like what's the... Quinn, do you have any sound logic to back up why...
His entire character.
He did
that. He
that.
became the Three-Eyed Raven. Why, I forget why he went and sought out the Third-Eyed Raven.
It's for the Night King? Like, what was the whole point? Like I don't...
It was
Like, his character is just very confusing.
Quinn doesn't even know.
Like, see? Like, you can't really
No,
come
I
up
have to
with
think about it. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
I just didn't understand.
I don't understand.
Falls
either.
out of the tower.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's when he starts getting the visions
Yep.
of the Raven
Yep.
in the crypts.
Yes.
And he's warging into his wolf and
Yep.
Hodor.
He didn't work into anybody this season.
That's true. He warged into those crows. He's like, I have to go now.
I know.
As he watches the entire battle go out, and he's
I
like,
think-
"Oh,
I
I'm
think-
back."
Bran
Doesn't make any sense, dude. I don't.
Bran would have benefited arguably the most from those extra episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if the season, if the show, there's a season early on where Bran was left completely out. It was like season 5 or something, and I think that was a mistake. And I think that was a mistake because the supernatural element is what is, the White Walkers are in the very first scene in the show.
Yeah.
That's like the big bad that's looming over over John's plot for the first 6 seasons.
Yeah, 6 seasons.
7 seasons.
Yeah.
Literally holding over his head.
Yeah.
Before Ramsay came into play.
And so, I think if they had maybe drawn more from the source material, in which reading the books, it's totally feasible that Bran could be king.
Yeah.
Totally feasible.
Uh-huh.
And I think if the show maybe had drawn more on that, then perhaps it would have been less of a shock.
So you didn't hate the fact that Bran became the king?
No, I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either. I didn't hate it, but I just hate how there was no setup for it. Like there wasn't any
Like pomp and circumstance, it was just
it was just
Bran?
like Bran the Broken, and everyone's like I, and then Sir Davos, I don't think I have a vote, but I. Dude, that made me laugh so hard. That was hilarious.
I was just sitting there thinking, like, is this the best choice?
Yeah.
Like, is this really the best choice? And we're all just gonna agree that, stories are what matter. Which, yes.
And why not?
But but it just seems kind of unlikely in that moment that they'd be like, he's right.
And they sure didn't agree
The
with
fugitive.
Samwell.
Also, Tyrion's a fugitive.
Yeah.
He's like locked up.
Not well liked by a lot of people.
By nobody, but yet
a lot of.
But yet they all let him, including Grey Worm, let him talk.
Yeah.
Like it's
First,
just
Grey Worm's like, enough of you talking.
Yeah.
And Grey Worm's like, fine.
And Tyrion keeps talking.
I know. Yeah, there was like no. Doesn't make any sense.
You will not say anything, but continue. And then Samwell brings up democracy, and they're all shut up.
Well, they didn't. No, they didn't. It wasn't a complete democracy. It was just the electoral college.
You're absolutely right.
It was just the lords and ladies
Lords and
choosing
ladies.
amongst themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
There
about
are
Rob?
also other beautiful moments. I liked Brienne finishing Jaime's chapter.
Yeah,
in the
that
book.
was nice.
There were so many memes made after that. It was hilarious.
Oh, the Mean Girl ones.
Mean Girl ones. There's
my
one
God.
where it was like, and Jamie said, "I had the bombest pussy." The end.
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, y'all work fast." Let's talk about Robin Aaron for a second.
Y'all-
How gorgeous
Sweet
he
Robin.
looked.
Y'all work fast.
And
Sweet Robin.
oh man,
Dude, fuck that
to
guy.
see the bald man
Dude,
fly.
fuck that guy, dude. I don't care how handsome he is now. He's still a
man,
fuck
I didn't
boy.
realize it was him until
I
someone
hate
pointed
that
out on
character.
Twitter, and I was like, "Wow,
I hate that character still.
that's odd."
Fucking stupid.
Damn.
Dumb.
Put a veil on me.
I hated his character so much.
Why?
I really wanted him to die. He was just so fucking annoying. And honestly,
Ooh, he snapped.
to me, he doesn't have any place in the show after season 5.
Wow.
Like, he could have been killed off, and then you just have the old dude with the cape as the guardian of the veil. or whatever, and he's just in charge of it. Like, it would have been the same show. You know what I mean?
I hated the abrupt Dornish.
Oh yeah, the random Dornish prince, just
I was like, who is
Oh
this?
yeah, the one that sat next to Aaron Robin.
literally anyone could have played him.
Yeah, I was like, okay. His name? That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, we didn't even know his name.
They do mention him in the previous season, when or not season, in the previous episode, I believe. For like a split second, they were like, "The Dornish are backing us, Khaleesi," or something.
Yeah.
There's
Okay,
a new
well, that's-
prince
well,
who is who's aligned with us. And then,
Yeah, but there's no name.
Yeah.
What are you, Yoda?
I don't know why it sounded like the Martian.
I know. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, "What is going on?"
But like they just said the prince, they didn't say a name. You know.
I know, but they at least mentioned him earlier. So unlike Robin, who hasn't been talked about in literally
and he
3
just
seasons,
shows up there all good looking.
he's still a fuckboy, dude. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
No one asked you to be a fan.
I don't care, and no, yeah, that's fine.
But who was your favorite character of the entire series?
Oh, I said this
Marco.
earlier. Ser Jorah was my favorite.
Oh yeah.
He was always my favorite. But I also like Ser Davos, and I really liked his character arc where he once didn't know how to read, and now he's the king of grammar.
And
apparently,
now he casts
The
a vote.
master of grammar.
the
Yeah,
master of grammar. Yeah, that was a beautiful moment. I love that. That was like
Braun
probably
of Blackwater.
Braun. What did you think of Braun, Quinn?
I like Braun. I like Braun a lot.
I love that when they mentioned Drogon, he was like, "At least he's far away." Like, they didn't
Yeah.
even get a chance to finish. He was like, "Ah, he's gone. Goodbye."
Braun,
We need more brothels, though.
it's weird, but Braun kind of feels like us.
Like who?
Like us in this room, or us as a race of humans? Like,
Maybe we should change the subject.
So what would you guys say is your favorite moment of this past season? Well, actually, go favorite moment of this season, and then favorite moment of the entire series.
oh, okay. So this season,
Yeah.
man.
Jesus.
Well, one of my favorite moments was
Yeah, please.
actually in the Long Night, which was, the battle against the Night King, but it was when Arya was in the library.
Oh yeah, she's sneaking
And
around.
she had to, show off that level 100 sneak perk and get past the zombies and stuff. That part was so sick.
That's another thing I hated about this was that she'd spent all that time learning those techniques.
Yeah.
Used it once. Used those techniques she learned once, and that was at the Red Wedding. Like,
Yeah.
hello.
In every episode, there are great moments.
Yeah.
Great moments in a average episode.
So what's your favorite moment of... Do you have a favorite moment?
Of the entire season.
Of the entire series. We'll just go series instead of season, because, like, it's a long series.
Holy
So.
shit, the entire series?
Yeah.
I'll do the 3 that come to my mind.
Okay.
I like one of my favorite scenes. Top 3. In no particular order. Number 3.
Uh-huh.
Prince...
Wait, what? No particular order. Number 3.
Prince what?
Prince Oberyn Martell is introduced
Oh, yeah.
in the brothel or whatever, and
Yeah.
he hears the Lannister men singing, which, triggers him, and he goes in there, and he's like, what are you guys doing? And he just kind of walks so casually, and he shoves a dagger in one dude's hand.
Oh, yeah.
Other dude, runs away to go get help, and he's
Yeah.
just so chill about it. Tyrion and Bronn
Yeah.
walking. It's just a funny scene.
Yeah.
Plus, Prince Oberyn was a G.
You were a fan of the Prince?
Yeah, he
I
was
miss
sick.
him.
So that was one moment. Another moment.
Okay. All right.
ASMR.
I know, yeah. What is up with this podcast and ASMR? I mean, Jesus fucking... Jesus.
Jesus.
I liked, shit, man.
You don't even know... Okay, I'll
My
talk.
mind first keeps going to, moments, one-on-one combats. But I'm trying to think of other moments. That's the thing.
Well, my favorite is Battle of the Bastards. That's
a whole episode.
Dude, that's my favorite moment.
Do you have a moment in the episode that stands out to you?
When Jon is just standing there John.
And they're just
as he faces down the horde?
He faces down the horde, and he's just
Okay.
standing there like, ah!
Yeah,
That was like a Captain America
I love when
Endgame
Sansa
move
was like,
moment.
"You're gonna die tomorrow."
Yeah. One of my other favorite moments is in the first season, Ned Stark is in the Black Cells, and Varys comes to visit him.
Yeah.
And Varys tells him, he tries to give him a way out and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Ned Stark tells him, you're raised by actors, you learned their craft well. And he says, I was raised by soldiers, and I learned how to die a long time ago. And it's just a super savage moment.
That is really, yeah.
And Ned Stark, the most OG, honorable character in the history of
Westeros.
ever. Probably.
Yeah.
Just across the fantasy genre.
Played by such an incredible, iconic actor of the fantasy genre, too. What's his name again?
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Sean Bean is amazing.
Yeah, he is.
Sean Bean's amazing.
Yeah.
If you were like, Quinn, top 100 actors, Sean Bean's in it. Sean Bean may be in the top 50.
Wow.
Dude, Sean motherfucking Bean? Boromir, son?
Yeah, Boromir, yeah.
Boromir?
What about top 100 in the fantasy genre? He would be, or top...
Oh, dude, he'd be top 5!
He'd be top 5, right?
He'd be top 5. Dude, you can't be in Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and not be in the top 5.
Not just be in Game of Thrones, but you are...
You are Ned fucking
Yeah, you're
Stark.
Ned Stark. That's fucking crazy. No, that's... Yeah, I agree. That's hella cool. Another great... Well, Joey, do you have a moment? What's your moment?
One of my favorites is Lady Olenna and Jaime.
That wasn't too long ago.
No, when Jaime feeds her the poison, she goes, "Is it gonna hurt?" No. Well, hurt for your son. And by the way, tell Cersei I wanted to know it was me.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite
that was
Jaime
a great moment.
My favorite Jaime Lannister moment is when he's in the hot tub with Brienne. And he opens up to her, and he's having kind of like a fever dream. He just had his hand cut off.
Oh yeah,
He's having like an infection.
Yeah.
And she calls him the Kingslayer, and it sets him off. And he tells her the full story that Daenerys' father had wildfire stashed underneath the city, and he was gonna blow the entire city up.
Yeah.
Jaime killed the Mad King to save everyone.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. Everyone treats him like shit.
Yeah, everyone does. And then
You did a good thing, but you treated like an ass.
Yeah, it's insane.
that is iconic. Not iconic, but that's
Ironic.
And
because of Daenerys doing what she did to the city.
and Jaime reflects on Robert's rebellion. He kills the Mad King, and he's sitting on the Iron Throne. And Ned Stark walks in and judges him and condemns him. And Jaime says, by what right does the wolf judge the lion? And it's just a super...
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
super cool... And then he passes out. And it's just awesome moment.
See, I need to rewatch season 1. I need to rewatch season 1 now that we know how everything ends.
Yeah, it's time to rewatch it.
I was thinking this earlier. I wonder if the last 2 seasons would be better as a binge watch.
Oh,
just go.
Yeah,
if you just went straight.
If you went straight through it instead of waiting and being
Instead of
underwhelmed
waiting.
every time.
Yeah,
Did we ever get the explanation for that spiral in the snow? Do you remember that?
that's just the
spiral-
wildlings being wild. Not the wild. It's the White Walkers.
Yeah, the White
Oh,
Walkers.
okay.
Yeah.
It's just the
It
walkers.
was just the walkers.
I still wish that the White Walkers would have been like the end of the show. That was the big
Yeah.
bad. That would have made more sense. But whatever.
Or if the battle lasted more episodes instead of making it one big one.
It should have been. It should have been 2 episodes.
Do you
That's that
have-
big of a battle.
Does anyone have a favorite character moment from a character who died?
Died not in this season, but one who's
just died. A character that died.
Just a character that's dead.
I personally loved when pretty recent moment too, in relation to everything else, but when Ser Jorah and Sam, or when Sam cured Ser Jorah's grayscale.
That whole episode was gross.
It was hella gross, but no, it's just 2 of my favorite characters helping each other, and the fact that Sam had such a close relation to Ser Jorah's father.
Yeah.
And because of the Night's Watch and everything and all that.
Small world.
It's fucking awesome. I just loved the interplay between the 2 houses and everything. It was great.
Do you have a favorite character moment from a female? Because I feel like Game of Thrones
has had some of the best female characters in the
Egret.
history of television.
I personally,
Egret.
it's a pretty basic scene, but I loved when Daenerys frees the Unsullied.
Oh,
When she gets the whip for the Unsullied, and then
the master's like, why won't this dragon listen to me?
Tell this bitch,
And then
Valerian's my home language, bitch.
Yeah, she starts dropping High Valerian on him. She's like, it's my native tongue.
And you gon' burn. Dracarys. I feel like as the series went, her Dracarys accent like evolved. Like there, she was very white girl Dracarys, and then then she got the accent later on.
What is your favorite Daenerys moment?
Me?
Yeah, I think Dany's probably the best. Dany is probably my favorite female character of this whole decade.
Okay.
Like I think she's awesome.
Like the one, like it never changed. Like from start to finish.
It was just like, man, Dany's sick. Like she's just always doing. Well, she's not always doing what's right, but
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Girls gotta do what a girl's gotta
At
do.
this point, I
she's
wouldn't
just
say
like,
that.
she's just tough. Like,
Yeah.
she has grit,
She
man.
Yeah.
threatened to cut off her brother's hands.
She's just
What
just a badass.
my favorite moment of Dany was when she burned all those the
Dothraki.
Dothraki calls.
Oh,
Oh, dude,
when they're in that hut, and she goes, "If you won't serve, you'll die," and she knocks
Yeah.
the
She's
fire
like-
down.
yeah,
Drops the brazier.
yeah,
I
because they were all rapists.
I love when Khal Drogo burns her brother with the gold.
The gold crown gives them the gold crown. Yeah,
dude, season 1 is amazing.
it's brutal. It's brutal.
Dude, one of my favorite Dany scenes is when she eats the horse heart in season 1.
Yeah.
That's it. That's an awesome chapter in the books, and it was awesome to watch.
Okay, so as a reader of the books, now that the series is finished, how well do the books? I think we've talked about this before.
Pretty bad. Pretty not well. They don't they don't correlate at all. Pretty much. No, I'm not gonna say they don't correlate at all. They do correlate. There is such a divide. Like it is a humongous divide. Almost 2/3. I don't know. I'm exaggerating. Maybe like half of book 4, A Feast for Crows, is omitted. Half of an entire book from the series is omitted. So when you omit half of a book, those plot lines
are gone, and
from
you
the
can't
next
build
book
from there.
Yeah. So it's strange. It's crazily different. But the more I think about it, the more I'm okay with it because it preserves the ending for the books.
Yeah.
And
the books can now be whatever they are going to be, and the ending is what it is in the show.
And honestly, as I go back and I reread the books, I'm going to picture the actors. So I'm going to. I am getting 2 endings to Game of Thrones.
That is true.
You'll be able to picture the actors as themselves as
and the
Brianna Tarth, the Sir Jorah, and you'll see them in your mind as you read.
Yeah, and the more I think about it like that, in kind of more of a positive way.
Yeah.
The more I'm just okay with
how the show ended.
How the show ended and the season. I mean, it wasn't my favorite, but ultimately, it's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
I love it because you can literally pick any moment from the show, and you can always say that was my favorite, and someone else can agree. There's a lot of moments in the show
disagree.
That are or disagree. But it's just a good show with a lot of good moments,
or be somewhere in the middle.
A lot of rememberable moments.
Did you have any other favorite female character moments?
Female specifically.
You said Dany.
Of course, Arya. When Arya.
Yeah, what's some favorite Arya moments?
When she beat the fuck out of that little bitch in the fucking
the other assassin.
Yeah, the other assassin.
The Terminator
assassin. Yeah.
When she was gangster.
Yeah, when she beat the fuck out of her.
Hardcore.
I was so happy that Arya beat her the fuck up.
There was that one, and then there was at the council in the last episode where she's like, "You keep talking about my brother, I'm gonna slit your fucking throat."
Yeah, that part was pretty.
Yeah. I think we need to discuss the cultural significance of this show before we depart, because that can take a while. And just specifically, will we ever have a show this culturally relevant again, where you go on Twitter and you see nothing but just Game of Thrones talk?
That depends. It depends.
I don't think we will.
It depends on your community. This show brought a lot of communities together. You know, it brought
nerds.
It brought gays.
It made fantasy popular.
It brought a lot of smaller communities come into a bigger one, and now those communities are going to separate into their own.
Well, I mean, it became mainstream. It wasn't a mainstream show at first,
but again,
and then became one as
it became one, and all these different people came together of different cultures, and now they're going to go their own ways, and they're going to have their own. So nothing is ever going to maybe bring everyone together again like this. Mm-hmm. But each culture will have their own. So again, it depends on who you talk about and what shows.
So in that case, you're saying no. In that case, you're saying no.
Everyone.
So so there's not going to be another show like Game of Thrones.
No.
There's not going to be another show with the same cultural significance as Game of Thrones, because what Game of Thrones has done for not only for the fantasy science fiction genre, has made it singularly the most popular genre and in-demand genre on television.
Right.
And what that does, it opens the doors financially and creatively for a plethora of other different projects.
That is true.
And that is the biggest
takeaway from it.
Game of Thrones has given the world. Is, you know, we get things like Westworld and Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get, you know, crazier shit.
Yeah.
Whatever that crazier shit
we're getting
is.
a Lord of the Rings show now.
We are?
Yeah.
Really?
You didn't know that?
No.
What?
On Amazon.
It's on Amazon?
Oh.
And we're getting a Witcher.
Oh, yeah, with
Netflix.
with Henry Cavill.
Like, Game of Thrones has changed. Game of Thrones has changed everything.
It's going to build up the fantasy world, and so then in that case,
it's the foundation.
Would you say that with fantasy and then, you know, like Witcher's a video game, right? You know, are they going to bring that stuff to life into the big screen or even onto the small screen?
They already are. They're going to.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, I want to say, are they going to do it? Like, keep doing.
They're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, because it's cool.
You know, keep it going.
Like eventually, they're going to make a Fable. They're going to make a Fable TV show.
You know,
literally keep the fantasy alive, keep the fantasy a reality for some people.
It's not hard to understand why, you know, this is the most popular form of escapism for people.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
That's very true.
And as long as it provides that escapism, then we'll keep getting stuff. I mean, we're getting 2 or 3 Game of Thrones spin-offs.
They're already starting one. They're already starting to film one of them. I think
Naomi Watts has already been cast in one.
Which one?
I
don't know.
It's under the title of Blood Moon.
No, I think it's about the Age of Heroes. It has to do with Bran the Builder.
Oh, see,
the first
night.
I
heard it was where they're doing 5,000 years before the events of Game of Thrones.
And I'm guessing
I'm
guessing
guessing
Benioff and Weiss aren't going to be in it. They're not going to write it. I'm assuming.
I don't know if they'll be affiliated or not.
They probably. I don't think fans would want them to be at this point because they get memed on so hard on social media. But
the internet is a ruthless, savage place.
But I think it is, and you know,
it's Australia.
I'm not going back to the internet, but when people keep their imagination alive, you could build on so much. You know, when people tap into their childlike fantasies and make them a reality, you can do so much.
I think also too. I just want to touch on the significance that this show has to television as a artistic medium. Just because we're now in the age of binging, like you just mentioned. So are we going to have another show that is going to be episodic in the sense of every week you're going to have to wait another week, obviously, in anticipation for what's going to happen next. Obviously, there's still shows like that, but a show as big as Game of Thrones that is also episodic, I don't know if that's
brings people together.
I don't think that'll ever happen again. I don't think so.
It's going to be the next Game of Thrones.
I think this is the
and
last.
And it will ride if that's worthy or not.
The next spinoff they have.
The next spinoff.
Oh, you think it's
next
game?
And if it's worthy or not.
But if it's on Amazon,
no. Game of Thrones is exclusive to HBO.
Oh, you said yeah.
You said
Lord of the Rings.
Because George R.R. Martin has an exclusive deal with HBO.
Even though they're not
And
working
so
with
is
George
Game
R.
of
R.
Thrones.
Martin anymore.
No, I think he's executive producing the spinoffs.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
I think he's worked pretty closely with the writers and the showrunners for the new series.
Do you think that's the reason why he hasn't been able to finish his books? Because he's been working too much on the shows?
No, I think it's because each book consists of POV chapters, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, for example, Jon, Bran, Sansa, Arya are all POV chapters. That's 4 chapters, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, each character gets 8 chapters.
Yeah.
So that alone is 32 chapters.
Yeah.
You also have Tyrion, Dany. You get Davos. You get Theon. You get a bunch of other characters. It's an expansive book. It's like
1,600 pages.
It's 40 novels within one.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
I wasn't
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to sound like a fucking perv.
I couldn't let that...
God damn it.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Stop.
Oh. Oh.
But so they're like 1,600 page books.
They're massive tomes.
How many books are there?
They're massive tomes.
There's
right
only
now,
one or two?
In the main, I don't want to say main continuity, but in the main series, A Song of Ice and Fire,
Yeah.
there is currently 5 volumes: A Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, A Feast for Crows, A Dance for Dragons. The next book will be titled The Winds of Winter,
Uh-huh.
and then the final book will be titled A Dream of Spring.
And
Outside of that, there is The World of Ice and Fire,
oh shit.
which is kind of like the encyclopedia of
Oh, okay.
Of the world.
the world. And there's also just recently released Fire and Blood, which is like the encyclopedia of the Targaryen dynasty.
Ooh.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's also the Tales of Dunk and Egg, which are George R. R. Martin's kind of like graphic novel
Uh-huh.
that chronicles the adventures of the knight Sir Duncan the Tall and Aegon Targaryen.
Oh,
who
wow.
was Maester Aemon
Yeah.
Targaryen's brother.
Yeah, and
You remember when he
died.
dies,
He
he's
died.
like, Egg!
Yeah.
That's who he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's him and Sir
Oh.
Duncan the Tall.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be cool if they did that, and Chris Hemsworth played Sir Duncan,
Sir Duncan the Tall. That is cool.
I always thought that'd be sick.
Chris Hemsworth Thor.
Dude, why not? Wouldn't that just be gnarly?
I know if what's his name? Bean.
Not
Scott
Sean
Bean.
Bean. There's an edit.
If
There's
Sean
a cut.
if Sean Yeah, we have to just
Hey, can you get both my boxes? Charlie
Yeah,
Ho,
if Sean Bean could play in Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, why not have Chris Hemsworth be in both Game of Thrones and the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Here's an interesting question: If you could pick 2 people from the MCU to be in Game of Thrones,
You mean the actors?
Yeah. Who would you cast?
Mark Ruffalo. Of course, I want Mark Ruffalo. I want Mark Ruffalo to just be a random farmer.
Some panicked
Yeah.
man. Mark Ruffalo should be some stressed, anxious, panicked man in like flea bottom.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
oh God, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere.
I know that's exactly what I want him to be.
The Dothraki.
Yes. And then I also would want
Time travel.
what's his name? Tom Hiddleston.
Ooh.
I would want him to be like a Targaryen. He'd be perfect as
Tom
like
Hiddleston would be sick as a Targaryen.
Yeah, you would.
Dude, or a Lannister.
Yeah.
Loki is essentially Loki's a Lannister.
Loki.
Loki's a Lannister.
Loki. Oh my
Loki
god.
Lannister?
This fuckboy.
Yeah.
I actually
yeah.
it'd be kind of fun. It'd be kind of funny to see Loki or God, I'm gonna keep calling him Loki. Fucking Tom Hiddleston as like a Greyjoy or something kind of random,
What?
and he'd have to play into that character. Not something that would suit him.
Oh, you're saying something that would bit against typecast.
Yeah.
What about him as a Stark then?
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
which
that'd be
which
kinda
Stark could he be?
I don't know. There's been tons of them. I always thought.
What would yours? What are
I
your
always
two?
thought. Outside the MCU, I always
Oh,
thought Jax Teller would be great as the OG Aegon.
Jesus Christ. Fucking Jackson.
Would be great as the OG Aegon Targaryen. Aegon the Conqueror.
The Conqueror, yeah.
I always thought he'd be gnarly as that.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, Crimson Hemsworth, he said that. Who else could be great in it? Did you know?
Scarlett Johansson.
I think I read
Scarlett
this the other
Johansson
day.
as what's her name? The mom of the Lannisters, who was married to Tywin.
Oh,
That'd be interesting.
Joanna.
Joanna.
Lannister?
Joanna. Yeah.
You know what I heard the other day? I heard Elizabeth Olsen auditioned to play Daenerys.
Really?
Wow.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
Wouldn't
I
have been
I
as
read
good.
it on the internet, so it could be bullshit.
Yeah.
But
Wouldn't have been
I
as
can't
good.
picture anyone other than
Then
the
Emma.
homegirl.
What's her name? Amelia
Or
Clark.
not Amelia. It's a meal, isn't it? There's an Amelia.
Emile?
A meal. She's a whole meal. She ain't a snack. Thank you.
Anyways,
Terrible.
I know it was, but
Yeah,
still
Joey-
went
That's
with it.
awful.
Joey's not a fan of the
I
MCU,
wanna
so
throw something at
he
you.
doesn't
Go right
have
ahead,
a
throw something
opinion
at
on
me.
it. But yeah,
I think she's the perfect woman.
well, yeah,
You're my queen. Forever.
I
Forever. Now and forever. Stab.
the only
Love is the death of duty, and duty is the death of love.
Did you just make that?
And then-
Tyrion's always impressed.
and then who
Really impressed.
who did he say John who where did John get that from? Did he say Master Aemon say that?
Mr. Aemon. He says it to him in season 1
Yeah.
when John's thinking about leaving to go fighting with Robb
Uh-huh.
after Ned is captured.
Yeah.
And Maester Aemon says it to him. It is cool to see all the callbacks
Yeah.
to the earlier seasons. Oh man, if it was just longer.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Honestly, I feel like
Yeah.
Like the
all
Arya
the
mentioned
problems-
again, going, what's west of Westeros?
Hey, I got a question.
Westeros.
What's your favorite?
Wee.
What's your favorite Sansa moment?
When
Sansa, Queen of the North. Shout out.
when she fed
when she asked that, I forgot her name. She was like, "Where are you from?" And she continues to go, "Oh, I forgot. I don't care."
Ooh.
Oh, I just remembered. I don't care.
That was early on in season 1. That was her
her
handmaid,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the older lady.
Or when
Yeah,
She was
Sansa,
talking about her hair. She's like,
Yeah.
"Do you even have hair under there?" She's like, "Oh wait, I don't care."
dude. Yeah, Sansa was a
that
fucking
one,
bitch.
Nah, Sophie Turner's a gangster.
Tyrion asked her,
Well-
"Will you pray for my safe return, as much as I pray for the kings?"
So
Like,
much
she was-
shade.
she was a little
so much
shady
shade.
bitch back
the
then.
queen of shade.
Yeah,
Sansa's
yeah.
a walking palm tree.
Your hounds haven't been fed for 7 days.
That was I
Oh,
really liked
yeah, that's my
that
favorite part.
this season where she's talking to the hound and he's like, "How'd you kill him?" She's like, "Fed him to the hounds," and he starts dying.
Yeah.
That part is actually fun. That made me laugh. So
Yeah.
I was like, "Ha!" Yeah.
That's another character that I really loved, the Hound.
The Hound, one of the most gangster characters of all time.
Yeah, no, but it's just funny how he would like.
His fight with Brienne goes down as one of the best.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's funny how he became like Amish for like a season. Remember that?
That was like the perfect way to describe it.
He did go Amish.
He went Amish.
with Ian fucking McShane.
Yeah, he did with Ian McShane.
Who's the least Amish person of all time. Ever seen Deadwood? That
No,
dude cusses so much.
really. Oh, that's
That was
awesome.
perfect.
Man, that might have been the funniest thing I've ever said in my life. Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna definitely miss Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Do you guys
it's,
have anything else you want to say before we terminate for the night?
Go
And
ahead,
it-
Joey. You can go first.
Final goodbye to Game of Thrones. What do you?
Long live Bran the Broken. Long may he reign.
Long may he reign. Long may he reign.
Yo,
That's going to improve. Don't worry.
someone came in today.
Oh my god.
Someone motherfucking came in today. I died.
What happened?
Someone came in. He's like, "Is Ivan here?"
No.
I started howling. I died.
No.
I turned and I said, Prince Eamon!
No way.
Dude, it was
Who
hilarious.
was it? Some random customer?
And then, who was Erwin or somebody was like, you mean Evan? And then he's like, yes, Evan. And I was like, shit, ruined it. Dude, it was so funny.
Oh my
Is
god.
Ebon here? I was like, yes.
Ebon Targaryen.
He ain't no Targaryen.
Anyway, your final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts on Game of Thrones. You have anything to say? A goodbye? A message? Anything?
Deuces.
That's it?
No,
You
that's not it.
That's so stupid.
No, it was. I wasn't a fan of it until probably about season 5 or 4. But when that was okay, but when I did get into it, it hooked me instantly.
Yeah.
And I don't really know if there's ever gonna be a show like that hook me again instantly. So it's gonna, it's gonna leave a void in some people's lives. They're gonna, what am I do every Sunday? Go to church? No thanks.
It was gone for like 2 fucking years.
Yeah, but you still knew it was coming
they
back. At this point, it's like they don't know it's
6
they
weeks.
know it's not coming back. But
Just watch
know,
Barry on HBO if you still have the HBO subscription. Dude, that's a good ass fucking show. Anyways.
but I mean,
What about you, Marco? What are
goodbye
your
Game
final
of Thrones.
thoughts?
Thanks for the adventure.
So, final thoughts on Game of Thrones. I'll give Quinn the last say on this. But my final ode to Game of Thrones. If you are a person, I'm going to talk to the show as if they're a person, saying goodbye to them forever. Well, thank you for sticking with me for the past 4 years. Because when I was in San Francisco and I had no friends and I had nothing else to do other than play video games and feel bad for myself, I'd watch that show. And I binged it in a matter of 2 months. And it just gave me a sense of community that I, didn't have at the time. And if there wasn't for that show, I probably wouldn't have been able to stay out there as long as I did. I probably would have came out for one semester if it wasn't for Game of Thrones. So, yeah, thank you, Game of Thrones. You did a lot for me during that time, and there's a lot of great memories binging it and all that. So, thank you.
All right, Quinn, your final words. Make them big.
I think it was 2012, and I was at school. I was in my dorm, and we had free HBO. And so I was just watching HBO. And it was Game of Thrones Season 2. And it was an episode where Yara is escaping with Gendry and Hot Pie with Yoren of the Night's Watch. It's not long after Season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they get caught up by some Lannister man. And, Lauren dies. And this other kid, Lamy, dies. And it was just crazy. It just blew me away. I was like, what is this? This is insane. So I called home, told my dad about it, told my sister about it. There's a show on HBO. It's called Game of Thrones. You guys need to watch it. Anyway, I didn't really watch it much after that. Like, I would catch it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that on my Christmas break, I would go home, I would binge watch the entire first season because the first season was out. My dad had bought it like the next day. He was like, this shit is amazing. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to catch up. So I don't want to get too involved into it right now.
Uh-huh.
Also, little side note, I hadn't read a book since like my sophomore year in high school.
Oh, wow.
Like, anytime there's a book report or anything, I'll just hit the Cliff Notes. I hadn't read a single book. So that Christmas, I go home from school. I watch the entire first season of Game of Thrones. I get caught up on the second season. My sister has the first book. And for the first time in like 6 years, I opened a book. And I read it from cover to cover. And it just blew my mind. It was crazy. It took me to the most insane places. And it's my favorite book of all time because it just re-sparked my imagination.
Wow.
So it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And so does the series. I've grown, near the end of my 20s with this series on.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it every year.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, It's my favorite show of all time still. And I think it's a landmark in cinema and television.
Just in art.
And in media.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy how it's ascended to this like, it's in the common vernacular. Everybody knows what GOT is. Even if they don't watch it, they know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's crazy to think about how it's connected so many people.
Yeah.
Even now, in its divisiveness, it has connected people through a discussion and through debate.
It creates a lot of but fan theories.
Oh,
you know?
hey, I
Everyone has
thought
their
this was
own-
my time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're right.
Hey, that's what you're saying.
Anyway, I love Game of Thrones. I love the show. I love the books. I think it's my favorite literary series, and it's also my favorite episodic television series. Ultimately.
Yeah. Well.
And you know, now our watch has ended until the spinoff comes out, and then
Yeah,
we all renew our HBO Now accounts.
But the
Unless you're watching Chernobyl, which you should be, or Barry, which you should be, or
Yes.
Veep, which you should be. HBO has a lot
Or
of great stuff.
Curb
on
Your
it.
Enthusiasm.
Or Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I love Richard Lewis so much, dude. Richard Lewis is my spirit animal. Anyways, I think that's all the time we got for today. Be sure to be on the lookout for the next episode, which should be out in about a week. And thank you all for listening. And we will talk to you later.